Some women, they have children. She produced a broken one. A little mute thing. Not a real person. Not a whole person. Those were the words my mother-in-law, Eleanor, whispered to our next-door neighbor, Mrs. Gable. She thought I couldn't hear her from the driveway. She was wrong. My name is Charlotte. It's been 5 years since I married Dr. Julian Croft, a brilliant surgeon at one of the city's top hospitals. We have a daughter, Maya. She's 4 years old, and she has never spoken a word. Not one. Because Julian is a doctor, Maya has seen every specialist you can imagine. We've driven across 3 states for appointments, and every single time, the diagnosis is the same. Perfectly normal. Her vocal cords, her hearing, her cognitive development, all normal. But the silence remains, a heavy, suffocating blanket in our beautiful hollow home. And for Eleanor, that silence is my fault, my failure, my genetic stain on her perfect family line. This afternoon, I picked Maya up from my mom's house. As we walked up our own driveway, I saw them, Eleanor and Mrs. Gable, standing by the perfectly manicured rose bushes, their voices a low, conspiratorial hum. When Eleanor saw us, her face tightened into a smile that never reached her eyes. "Ah," she said, her voice loud and brittle. "The little mute is back. Come here. Let Grandma hold you." Mrs. Gable shifted uncomfortably. "Eleanor, why would you call her that? What else would you call it? She's 4, she doesn't talk. It's called being mute, isn't it?" Eleanor held out her arms, but Maya, my sweet, perceptive Maya, shrank back, burying her face in my leg. In a flash, Eleanor's faux warmth vanished. Her hand shot out and slapped our daughter across the cheek. Not a tap, a full, stinging slap, a sharp crack in the quiet afternoon air. 5 red fingerprints bloomed instantly on Maya's pale skin. The sound that ripped from her throat wasn't a word. It was a raw, wounded scream that tore right through me. "She's a child! Eleanor, what are you doing?" I cried, scooping Maya into my arms. "Look what you did! You hurt her!" "Oh, please," she scoffed, waving a dismissive hand. It was a love tap. So dramatic. A love tap? Look at her face. It's marked with your hand. I was just playing. Why are you always so hostile towards me? Mrs. Gable, bless her heart, had seen enough. Eleanor, that was too much. The girl's crying because it hurt. Charlotte's right to be upset, furious at being challenged. Eleanor spun on her heel and stormed into the house. I could hear the sound of her dialing the phone before the door even slammed shut. She was calling Julian. I knew it. "Julian? Yes, it's me. You need to come home and deal with your wife." She just screamed at me in front of the whole neighborhood. I tried to hold the child, and Charlotte flew into a rage. "If you don't put her in her place, she'll be walking all over me. She'll be running this house, and you, into the ground." "Yes, I know. I'll see you tonight." She hung up. Through the window, I saw her mutter to herself, "Spoiled, overfed brat. You're too soft on her, Julian. One of these days, she'll just up and leave you for someone else." Meanwhile, across town, at the hospital, Julian's colleague, Mark, slid a small, elegant box across his desk. "This is from Dr. Jansen's daughter, Chloe. Said to make sure you got it personally." Julian opened it. Inside, nestled on black velvet, was a key fob for a brand new Mercedes. Mark's eyes went wide. "Whoa. A whole car? Seriously? Okay, dude, you gotta come clean. How long have you and Chloe been a thing?" Julian let out a long, weary sigh. It's not a thing. It was a chance meeting at a conference. I never expected it to escalate. Now, I don't know how to get out of it. Get out of it? Mark laughed, leaning against the doorframe. Why would you want to get out of it? The director's daughter has her eyes on you, man. This is your ticket. Your fast track to the top. Don't be an idiot. I have a wife, Mark, and a daughter. Your wife works a makeup counter, Julian. No offense. But compare that to Chloe Jansen. Who wins? It's not even a contest. I still love Charlotte, Julian said, his voice barely a whisper. We have a child together. It's just... Maya. She still isn't talking. I don't know what's wrong. Is it? Could it be genetic? Does anyone in your family? No, Julian cut him off. No one. Then it's gotta be from your wife's side, Mark concluded, matter-of-factly. Look, Charlotte's a beautiful woman, I'll give you that. But if she can't give you a healthy child, what's the point? Just then, the door swung open. It was Chloe Jansen, dressed in a form-fitting designer dress, radiating an aura of money and confidence. What are we talking about, boys? She purred. Mark straightened up instantly. Chloe, just leaving, actually. Got a consult. You two. Talk. He gave Julian a pointed look, then slipped out, pulling the door quietly shut behind him. Chloe glided over to Julian's desk, perching on the edge and running a manicured finger along his jawline. Did you get my gift? He cleared his throat. Chloe, you can't. This is too much. Don't call me Chloe. It sounds so formal. She leaned in, her voice dropping to a husky whisper. Call me baby. Okay. But why such an expensive gift? Because I know what you want, Julian, and I can give you everything. I just need you to be with me. Is that a yes? I'm married. Chloe. She slid from the desk onto his lap, her movements fluid and practiced, and kissed the soft spot behind his ear. That's just a piece of paper. It's not as important as what I feel for you. What you feel for me. You understand, don't you? Her hand moved from his shoulder, down his chest, lower. Be honest, Julian. Don't you want me? He hesitated for a fraction of a second, and in that moment, he was lost. He gave a short, sharp nod. Yes, good, she whispered, her lips brushing against his. Then let's go play. I know you're on call, but don't worry. Daddy's daughter gets what she wants. Payday. I sat at my little desk in the stockroom, counting the bills from my paycheck. Sarah, my work wife and best friend, leaned against a stack of boxes, sipping a coffee. Are you broke or something? Why do you keep counting that like it's a winning lottery ticket? I sighed, arranging the bills into piles. I'm just trying to figure out if I'll have enough for Maya's daycare and her milk after I pay off the credit card. Sarah nearly choked on her coffee. Are you kidding me? Your husband is a top surgeon. His salary must be insane. Why are you stressing about daycare fees? Julian's salary goes into a joint account, I explained, the familiar shame creeping in, and his mother controls it. I never see a dime. She demands it before the direct deposit even clears. Oh, honey, no, that's not right. You married him to build a life with him, not to be his mother's maid. She's a nightmare. Everyone knows it. It's just easier this way, I mumbled. If I fight her on it, she makes our lives a living hell. So you're telling me, Sarah said, her voice rising with indignation, that you, with a rich-ass husband, have to borrow money just to get by? She shook her head. This is insane. We're going out tonight. Drinks are on me. I can't. I have to pick up Maya, then make dinner, clean up. And what does Queen Eleanor do all day while she's at home? I don't know, honestly. See, that woman is something else. If she were my mother-in-law, I'd have told her where to go on day one. Families are supposed to help each other. Shh, Sarah, don't. If someone hears, it'll get back to her, and I'll never hear the end of it. You're too nice, Charlotte. That's your problem. She paused, a mischievous glint in her eye. You know, you could have had it so different. If you'd chosen Ethan, I felt a blush creep up my neck. Oh, don't start. I'm serious. My brother is still hung up on you. It's been 5 years, and the guy hasn't seriously dated anyone. He's 30 years old, for God's sake. It's about chemistry, Sarah. We just didn't have it. My mom still talks about you, you know. The one that got away. Every time she mentions you, Ethan gets this sad, faraway look in his eyes. I laughed, trying to steer the conversation away. Back then, Ethan and Julian had both pursued me. I chose Julian. I was mesmerized by the idea of him, the brilliant young doctor in his crisp white coat, saving lives. Ethan was studying business, something that seemed so ordinary at the time. Now, Ethan was a titan in real estate development, wealthy beyond imagination, and still, apparently, single. A notorious bachelor, seen at all the right parties, but never with the same woman twice. While I was here, counting out $20 bills to see if I could afford my daughter's milk. In a plush, 5-star hotel room across town, Chloe clung to Julian in the shower, the hot water streaming over them. Julian, she moaned, pressing herself against him. I want you. Right now. I'll make today unforgettable, he whispered back, his hands already exploring her body. As soon as my shift ended, I rushed to my mom's to pick up Maya. As we were leaving, my mom handed me a bag of fresh oranges. Here, take these for Maya. Squeeze her some fresh juice. Thanks, Mom. I've gotta run. You always have to run, she said, her voice soft with worry. You live 10 minutes away, and you never stay for a cup of tea. Is it always this bad? I have to get home to make dinner, Mom. Laundry, cleaning. There's always so much to do. Doesn't that mother-in-law of yours lift a finger to help? I just shook my head, not wanting to get into it. Come on, sweetie, wave bye-bye to Grandma. And then, it happened. From my daughter's lips, a small, quiet, but perfectly clear sound. Grandma. My heart stopped. The world stopped. I stared at her, my own breath caught in my throat. My mom's eyes were wide as saucers. Mom, did you hear that? Did you hear what I heard? She said it. My mom whispered, tears welling up. She called me Grandma. I dropped to my knees and pulled Maya into the tightest hug of her life. Tears streaming down my face, my body shaking with a joy so pure and overwhelming it felt like it would break me apart. You called her Grandma. Oh, my baby, you did it. You're going to talk. I know you are. You're going to talk just like all the other kids. My mom nodded, wiping her own tears. Of course she will. My little Maya is the smartest, sweetest girl in the world. I drove home on a cloud of euphoria. When I got there, Eleanor hadn't returned from whatever social engagement she'd had. I opened the fridge to start dinner and found it nearly empty. Of course, she'd gone out for the day, so she hadn't bothered to go to the market. I strapped a still beaming Maya back into her car seat and drove to the grocery store, then rushed home to cook. By the time I had dinner on the table, Eleanor walked in, looking down her nose at the pan of sautéed pork I'd made. Pork again? She muttered. We eat pork all the time. How is a person supposed to swallow this day, in and day out? The market was closing. Mom, I said, trying to keep my voice even, not wanting to ruin the miracle of the day. It was either this or ground beef, and go buy a rotisserie chicken from the market on Elm Street. Your husband works hard all day. He needs a proper meal, not this stuff. How is he supposed to function? I hesitated. I was tired and broke. Mom, can you give me some money for it? Money? Her voice was sharp. Why do I need to give you money? It's a chicken, for God's sake. Where is your paycheck? Do I have to pay for everything? I am not a bank, Charlotte. The euphoria of the afternoon began to curdle in my stomach. Your son's entire salary is in your account, Eleanor. My paycheck has to cover Maya's daycare, her formula, her clothes. I don't have a single dollar left. Her face contorted in a sneer. She reached into her purse, pulled out a $50 bill, and threw it in my face. The crisp paper fluttered down and landed at my feet. Here, go. And don't think for a second that Julian's salary is a lot of money. It's barely enough to maintain this house. I picked up the $50, my hand trembling with a mixture of rage and humiliation. $30,000 a month of his salary went into her account, and she called it barely enough. My $10,000 a year from the store was, in her eyes, nothing. I picked up my purse. Maya, sensing the tension, ran to my side. She was afraid to be alone in the house with her grandmother. Of course she was. I scooped her up and walked out the door into the growing darkness to buy a damn chicken. As we were coming back, I saw it. A gleaming black Mercedes sedan pulling into our driveway. It was Julian. Julian, oh my God, whose car is this? He stepped out, a proud grin on his face. It's mine. You like it? Yours? When did you buy this? Where did you get the money? It was a bonus from a research grant I worked on. He lied smoothly. A huge, unexpected bonus. Come on, get in. I'll take you both for a spin. Sitting in the plush leather seats, the new car smell filling my lungs, I felt a flicker of hope. It's beautiful, honey, just beautiful. I'm not even that crazy about this model, he said, patting the steering wheel. Down the road, I'll get something even better, something bigger, for when we take you and Maya on trips. I can't even imagine anything better than this, I whispered. This is more than enough. The car changed everything. For Eleanor, it was a trophy. My son, so brilliant. She'd crow to her friends on the phone. He's the best. I'm so proud of him. But for me, it just tightened the leash. One evening, Julian was home early. Maya was being fussy, and I was trying to get dinner ready. Julian, could you just watch her for a few minutes while I finish up in here? I asked. Sure, sweetie. Come on, he said, reaching for her. Eleanor appeared in the doorway like a storm cloud. What do you think you're doing? Your husband works a stressful life or death job all day, and you come home and make him your babysitter? She's just being a little clingy, I said, confused. If he doesn't help me, how am I supposed to get anything done? You wait until she's asleep, then you clean. By the time she's asleep, it's midnight, Eleanor. I don't care if it's midnight or dawn, she snapped. His job is to provide. Your job is everything else. The child, the cooking, the cleaning. That is a wife's duty. Don't you dare try to palm your responsibilities off on him. Do you understand me? Something inside me finally broke. I had been quiet for too long. I understand the housework, fine. But Maya is his child too. It takes two people to raise a child, not one. He earns the money, that's enough. What more do you want from him? I work too. It's not like I sit at home all day doing nothing. Eleanor let out a cruel laugh. Oh, you and your little makeup job. How much do you make? A pittance. Don't you dare compare your little hobby to his career. Every cent of your pathetic salary goes to that child, and Julian's money, which I manage, pays for everything else. You haven't contributed a single real dollar to this household. That's because you take it all. Are you talking back to me? After everything I do for you? Julian, get in here. Your wife is screaming at me. Look at her, son. She's out of control. I knew you shouldn't have married someone so common, so ill-bred. Julian walked in from the living room, a deep sigh escaping his lips. He didn't look at me. He just turned, walked back into the bedroom, and closed the door. A moment later, his phone buzzed. It was a text from Chloe. "What are you doing? Miss me yet?" He didn't reply. A second text came through. It was a photo. Chloe, lying on a bed, wearing nothing but a seductive smile. The caption read, "I'm all clean. Come and get me dirty again." A fire lit in his eyes. He stood up, changed his clothes, and walked out of the room. "Where are you going, son?" Eleanor asked. "Out, meeting a friend." My heart seized. "What friend? Can Maya and I come with you?" Eleanor shot me a look of pure venom. "Look at yourself. You look like a mess. And you want to go out with him? Don't you have a mirror? Don't you feel any shame?" Julian looked at me, his face unreadable. "I'm just meeting Ethan for a drink. You stay home, put Maya to bed. I'll probably be late." "Okay," I whispered. He walked out the door, got into his new Mercedes, and drove straight to a hotel to meet Chloe. She was waiting for him, the door unlocked. As he stepped inside, she greeted him from the bed. "I've been waiting for you, baby." "Oh, and look at this." She held up a piece of paper. He took it. "Read it." His eyes went wide. It was a letter of appointment. Chief of surgery. He swept her up in his arms, kissing her deeply. Thank you, my God. You're incredible." "I had to pull a lot of strings with my father," she murmured against his lips. "You have to be a good boy from now on. You have to listen to me. Understood?" "Of course, my love," he whispered. "Of course." He called her his love. Have you ever wondered what your partner calls someone else when they think you'll never find out? The next day, I was at the counter, helping a customer, when a familiar voice said my name. "Charlotte?" I looked up. It was Ethan, Sarah's brother. "Ethan? Wow, long time no see. How are you?" "I'm good. You?" Before I could answer, Sarah bounded over, slapping him on the back. "Well, look what the cat dragged in. You finally decide to visit your little sister at her dead-end job. Or did you just come to see Charlotte?" Ethan blushed. I came to see you both." He turned back to me. "Hey, let me take you out for a coffee later." "Oh, I can't. I'm swamped." "Yes, she can," Sarah interrupted, grabbing my arm. "You're going. I'll cover for you. It's been ages. Go." She turned to her brother. "Wait for her over at the cafe across the street. I'll drag her there myself. I promise." Ethan smiled, a real, warm smile. "Okay, I'll be waiting." Sarah gave me a look. "You're going. Don't you dare make a fool out of my brother. Go." Reluctantly, I agreed. Later, the three of us were sitting at a small table, laughing and catching up on old times, when I saw them, my mother-in-law, Eleanor, walking down the street. On the arm of Mr. Gable, our next-door neighbor, a married man, her hand was resting intimately on his waist. They were heading for a small, discreet hotel just down the block. When she looked up and saw me watching her from the cafe window, her face went pale. She snatched her hand away from him, as if it had been burned. She marched right over to our table. "Charlotte, what are you doing here?" "Hello, Eleanor. I'm having coffee with my friends." Her eyes narrowed, darting from me to Ethan, full of suspicion and rage, as if she had caught me, not the other way around. "It's the middle of the workday. You're skipping work to be with men?" Sarah stood up. "Excuse me, Mrs. Croft. That's my brother, and I got permission from our manager for Charlotte to take an early break." "You stay out of this," Eleanor hissed. "I knew it. I knew you were sneaking around behind my son's back. I catch you red-handed, And you still have the nerve to lie to my face? Eleanor, that's enough, I said, my voice shaking. We're just having coffee. I'm calling Julian. He needs to know what kind of wife he has. Ethan stood up then, his voice calm but firm. Ma'am, with all due respect, we are 3 old friends catching up. You're making a scene over nothing. This is a family matter, she shrieked, pulling out her phone. You stay out of it. She stabbed at the screen. Julian, it's your wife. She's skipping work. She's out with some man. I could hear Julian's tired voice through the phone. Mom, whatever it is, can we talk about it tonight? He hung up, furious. She grabbed Mr. Gable's arm and dragged him away, disappearing down the street. I sat there, my coffee cold, my eyes burning with unshed tears. Sarah reached across the table and squeezed my hand. I am so sorry, Charlotte. I swear, if that woman were related to me, I'd have her committed. I can't believe you live with that. I just shook my head and stood up. I should get back. Thanks for the coffee, Ethan. He watched me go, a look of deep sorrow on his face. Later that night, the moment I walked in the door, Eleanor started in on me again. You have some nerve. You are a disgrace. You're the one who's a disgrace. I saw you with Mr. Gable, a married man. Don't you dare talk to me like that. I say one thing, and you argue back with 10. You should be on your knees thanking God that you managed to trap my son, a worthless girl from a worthless family. What have I ever gotten from this family but misery? I have served you and your son for 5 years, and it's still not enough for you. You shut your mouth, she screamed, her face purple with rage. Shut your damn mouth or I'll beat you to death. She lunged at me, her hands like claws. On pure instinct, I shoved her back. I didn't mean to push her hard, but she stumbled, lost her balance, and fell to the floor in a heap. At that exact moment, the front door opened. It was Julian. Eleanor immediately burst into theatrical sobs, clutching her arm. Julian, oh thank God you're home. She hit me. She attacked me. If you had been a minute later, she would have killed me. Julian saw his mother on the floor, and me standing over her. He didn't ask. He didn't hesitate. He strode across the room and slapped me, hard, across the face. The force of it sent me staggering back, my ear ringing. Red-hot pain exploded on my cheek. How dare you, he seethed, his voice low and dangerous. How dare you lay a hand on my mother? Julian, I didn't. She came at me. I just pushed her away. I saw you, he spat. I saw you standing over her while she was on the ground. Is this what you do when I'm not here? You abuse my mother? You believe her? You don't believe me? Apologize to her. Right now, I did nothing wrong. I will not apologize. I saw what you did, Charlotte. Don't lie to me. Do you have any idea what she said to me? The things she calls me? Our daughter? I don't care. Apologize to my mother, or you can get the hell out of my house. Tears streamed down my face, hot and bitter. I turned and walked into Maya's room and gently lifted her from her crib. She stirred, her eyes fluttering open. We're going to Grandma's house, sweetie, I whispered, my voice breaking. She looked up at me, her little face full of concern, and for the second time in her life, she spoke. Mama, the word, so soft, so longed for, shattered the last of my composure. I broke down, sobbing uncontrollably. Yes, baby, it's Mama. Mama's here. I'm so sorry. We're leaving. We're going to Grandma's house now. I walked out of the room, holding my daughter like a shield. Julian blocked the doorway. Leave the child here. If you want to go, go alone. Eleanor scrambled to her feet, grabbing his arm. Let her go, Julian. Let her take the mute. What good is she anyway? Let them both go. Don't waste your time on them. Those words, They were a physical blow. From this moment on, I said, my voice eerily calm, we are finished. I'll expect the divorce papers. Fine, he sneered. You want a divorce so you can run off with Ethan? Is that it? He's been waiting for you, hasn't he? For 5 years. You two have been sneaking around behind my back this whole time. You're delusional, I whispered, walking past him. Go on, run to him, he shouted after me. But I'm telling you, Charlotte, no one will ever love you like I do. Other men, they'll just use you. They'll play with you, and then they'll throw you away like trash. You'll see, you'll come crawling back. I walked out into the cold night air, my daughter in my arms, tears blinding me. I walked and walked, with no destination in mind, just away. Away from that house, away from him, away from the woman who had poisoned our lives. I was so lost in my pain that I didn't even think to take my car. I reached a busy intersection, the streetlights blurring through my tears. I stepped off the curb, my mind a million miles away. A horn blared, headlights flooded my vision. A car screeched to a halt, inches from where Maya and I stood. The force of my own shock sent me stumbling backward, and I fell hard on the pavement, twisting my body to shield Maya from the impact. My baby, are you okay? I scrambled up, checking her frantically. A car door opened, and a man stepped out, his face etched with concern. He was tall, dressed in an impeccably tailored suit, with dark, intense eyes. Are you two all right? His voice was deep, calm. We're fine, I stammered, pulling Maya close. You're lucky I was paying attention. You walked right out into a green light. I'm sorry, I wasn't thinking. Where are you headed? Let me give you a ride. No, it's okay. I can walk. It's getting cold, he said, his gaze falling on Maya, who was shivering in my arms. And your little girl. She looks exhausted. Please, just let me drive you. He opened the back door of a luxury sedan. 2 other men sat in the back, looking just as surprised as I was. He gestured for me to get in. There was something in his voice, an authority that was impossible to refuse. I climbed in. As he drove, he glanced at me in the rearview mirror. What happened? Your face is all swollen from crying. Did your husband hit you? No, I lied, turning to look out the window. Just some bad news. Whatever it is, he said quietly, his eyes meeting mine in the mirror again. Don't let her suffer for it, the child. She hasn't done anything wrong, did he think? Oh my God, did he see me, a crying woman with a child, walking into traffic, and think I was going to? It's not what you think, I said quickly. I'm taking her to my mother's house. I would never. I was just upset. Good, he said, a hint of relief in his voice. When you walked out in front of my car like that, I thought, I know. I'm sorry. I was just lost in my thoughts. Then I'm glad I stopped you. He drove me all the way to my mother's front door. I thanked him and hurried inside. From the back seat of the car, one of the other men stared after me. Boss, what was that all about? I've known you for 10 years. I've never seen you give a damn about a stranger like that. The driver, the man with the intense eyes, didn't answer right away. He just watched until the door closed behind me and Maya. I don't know, he said, finally putting the car in drive. I couldn't just leave them there. His name was Damon, and he had just driven straight into my life. The moment my mother opened the door, her smile of welcome dissolved into a mask of horror. Charlotte? Oh my God, baby, what happened? What's wrong? I stumbled inside, the weight of my sleeping child and the crushing agony of my life finally breaking me. I collapsed onto her sofa, and the story came pouring out of me in a torrent of choked sobs and fractured sentences. The slap, the lies, the final, brutal choice Julian had made, standing with his mother against me. When I finished, the silence in the room was heavy, dangerous. My mother stood over me, her hands clenched into white-knuckled fists, her face a thundercloud of protective rage. "That son of a bitch," she finally choked out, her voice a low growl. "And that witch, I'm going over there. I'm going to kill them both." "No, Mom, don't," I pleaded, wiping my eyes. "It won't solve anything." "Solve anything? Charlotte, he let his mother abuse you and your child. He put his hands on you. That's not a man. That's a monster. I'm going to go over there, and I'm going to set them straight. Please, just not tonight," I whispered, utterly exhausted. "She'll come here. Sooner or later, she'll find a reason to come here and finish what she started. Just wait." And I was right. The next morning, my mother drove to the house to pick up my car and some of my things. She was met on the front lawn by Eleanor, who was standing beside a large black trash bag. My clothes, my personal belongings, my life, stuffed inside like garbage. "Take your daughter's trash and get off my property," Eleanor sneered, kicking the bag. "And tell her to never show her face here again. This house is for decent people." My mother's face went pale with fury. My daughter doesn't need to step foot in this toxic waste dump ever again. "You think your house is so special. My daughter's biggest mistake was marrying into this family. Marrying that spineless son of yours." "A mistake?" Eleanor laughed, a high, piercing sound. "It was the best thing that ever happened to her. My son is chief of surgery now. Women are lining up for him. Beautiful, whole women who know how to give a man a proper child. Not like your defective daughter." The words hit my mother like a physical blow. You evil woman. How dare you talk about my granddaughter like that?" "I'll talk however I want. Go on, take your trash and your broken grandchild and get out of my sight." The screaming match that followed brought neighbors to their windows. It only ended when Mr. Gable came rushing out of his house to pull Eleanor back inside, while my mother, shaking with rage, threw the trash bag into the back of her car and drove away. That day, she forbade me from ever contacting them again. News travels fast. When I got to work, Sarah already knew. She pulled me into the stockroom, her face a mixture of pity and relief. "I heard," she said softly. "You're finally out." "Oh, honey, that's the best news I've heard all year. Divorce him. Start over. You deserve so much better." I just stared at a rack of unsold lipstick, my heart a dull, aching void. "I don't know, Sarah. It's not that easy. We were married for 5 years. We have a child." The truth was, a stupid, traitorous part of me still loved Julian. Or at least, the man I thought he was. Sarah sighed, leaning against the shelves. "Look, there's something else you should know. A rumor." "What? That promotion he got? To chief of surgery?" She hesitated. "My boyfriend works in hospital administration. He says everyone knows Julian didn't get it on merit. The director's daughter, Chloe Jansen, pulled some major strings to make it happen." The world tilted slightly on its axis. "What are you talking about?" "They say she's obsessed with him. And that new Mercedes he's driving?" Sarah looked me straight in the eye. "Word is, it was a welcome to the team gift. From her, the air left my lungs, the car, the promotion, the late nights with friends. It all clicked into place, a horrifying mosaic of betrayal. He hadn't just chosen his mother over me. He had replaced me. For weeks, maybe months, I had been living in a lie. I had been back at my mother's for 2 weeks. 2 weeks. And not a single call, not a single text from my husband, not even to ask about his daughter, because he already had a new life. I pulled out my phone, my hands trembling. I had to hear it from him. I texted first. Julian, we need to talk. Please call me. An hour passed. Then 2. Nothing. The silence was his answer. Finally, my pride shattered. I pressed the call button. It rang once, twice, and then a woman answered. Her voice was smooth, confident, and dripping with condescension. Hello? My blood ran cold. Ooh. Hi, can I speak to Julian, please? There was a pause, followed by a soft, amused chuckle. He's a little busy right now. In the shower, actually. Who's calling? This is his wife. Oh. The voice was sickly sweet. You must be Charlotte, the ex. Right. Look, he told me you left. Why are you still calling him? My mind struggled to form a coherent thought. Who is this? This is Chloe, she said, her tone hardening. Julian's girlfriend. And since you two are getting a divorce, I'd appreciate it if you didn't call his phone anymore. I get jealous. And then she hung up. I stood there, in the quiet of my mother's kitchen, the phone still pressed to my ear, listening to the dead air. I had been erased, not just from his home, but from his life, with a single, brutal phone call. My husband, my marriage, my entire world, gone, replaced. And in that moment, I understood. This wasn't just about his mother anymore. This was about him. He had wanted me gone. He had let his mother drive me out so he could be free, without ever having to be the one to say the words. He got everything he wanted, the job, the car, the new woman, and I was left with nothing but the label he'd left me with. A woman who couldn't give him a whole child. The wife who just walked away. I had to see it for myself. I couldn't let it be real until my own eyes confirmed the nightmare. I drove to the hospital, parking across the street, my heart pounding a sick rhythm against my ribs. I didn't have to wait long. Julian emerged from the main entrance, laughing, and opened the passenger door of his Mercedes. Chloe slid in, looking up at him with adoring eyes. He leaned in and kissed her. A long, lingering kiss that made my stomach turn to acid. I followed them. My hands were slick on the steering wheel, my vision blurry. They drove to a ridiculously expensive downtown restaurant, the kind of place Julian always said was too pretentious for us. He handed the keys to a valet. They walked inside, his hand possessively on the small of her back. What do you do when you see your life being lived by someone else? Do you turn away? Do you fall apart? I didn't. I got out of my car, and I walked right in after them. I found them at a secluded table by a window, a bottle of champagne chilling in a silver bucket beside them. Julian, he looked up. The color drained from his face. Chloe's smile froze, turning into a hostile glare. Charlotte? What? What are you doing here? I came to find my husband. Who is this, Julian? Before he could answer, Chloe spoke, her voice like ice. I'm Chloe, his girlfriend. Now, who are you? I ignored her, my eyes locked on Julian. Come outside with me. We need to talk. No, Chloe said, grabbing his arm. Stay. Whatever you have to say, you can say it right here. Julian, please, just come outside. He pulled his arm free from my grasp. His eyes were cold, distant. There's nothing to talk about, Charlotte. Say what you need to say, and then leave. The casual cruelty of it stole my breath. Come home, Julian, please. Just come home with me, and we can talk about this. We have nothing to talk about, he repeated, his voice flat. Chloe looked at me, a smirk playing on her lips. You should go. He's with me now. Don't keep trying to cling to him, or I'll have to make things unpleasant for you. You're threatening me? I asked, incredulous. You stole my husband, and you're threatening me? She turned to Julian, her voice sharp. Julian, say something. I gave you a career. I gave you a car. I gave you everything. Are you going to let her ruin our evening? Get rid of her, now. Or you can walk out of here with nothing. He looked from her face to mine. In his eyes, I saw the calculation, the cold, hard math of his ambition. He had made his choice long ago. This was just the final transaction. He stood up and pushed me, gently but firmly, away from the table. Go home, Charlotte. We're over. You'll get the papers from my lawyer. I couldn't accept it. I grabbed his arm, desperate. No, Julian, please. We have to talk about this. He looked at Chloe, at her warning glare. He saw his future, gleaming and bright, sitting right there at the table. And he saw me, his past, clinging to his arm. He chose his future. Let go of me, he said, his voice dropping to a harsh whisper. Go home. Don't be pathetic. Chloe snapped her fingers. Security. 2 large men appeared at her side instantly. They grabbed my arms and began to drag me out of the restaurant. A public humiliation played out in front of a room full of strangers. And that's how I lost my husband. Not to a fight, not to a misunderstanding, but to a better offer. He traded me and our daughter for a promotion and a car. And the worst part, the part that will haunt me forever, he got to walk away looking like the victim, the poor, successful doctor whose unstable wife just abandoned him. I drove away from that restaurant like a ghost, my mind numb. My shift at the store was over, and with my mom watching Maya, there was no reason to rush home. The world felt empty, pointless. I called Sarah, hoping to drown my sorrows with a friend, but she was out on a date, so I went alone. I found a little dive bar with outdoor seating, a place that sold cheap beer and fried oysters. I sat by myself at a rickety table on the sidewalk, drinking beer straight from the bottle, feeling the cold glass against my lips. It wasn't fancy, it wasn't glamorous, but it was real. A few tables away, a sleek black car was stopped at a red light. Inside, Damon was talking to his associate, the man from the other night, whose name was Cole. What is that place? Cole asked, nodding towards the bar. Smells like fried fish. It's called the Fat Mermaid. Best oysters in the city, supposedly. You want to stop? Damon shook his head. Nah, not my scene. But as he said it, his eyes scanned the patio, and they stopped. On me. He stared for a long moment. Then, he put the car in park, right there in the middle of the street. Wait, he said. I see someone I know. Cole looked over, confused. Who? You know people who eat at a place called the Fat Mermaid? That girl from the other night, Damon said, his gaze fixed. The one with the kid. He got out of the car, leaving Cole dumbfounded, and walked over to my table. Excuse me, he said, his voice as calm and deep as I remembered it. Mind if I join you? I looked up, startled, and recognized him immediately. The man from the car, the one with the intense eyes. Oh, sure, sit down. He sat. His friend, Cole, reluctantly got out and took a separate table a few feet away. Drinking alone is a sad business, Damon said, signaling a waitress. What happened this time? The beer had loosened my tongue. The story just spilled out. My husband left me for another woman. He nodded slowly. So that's why you're sad. Can you blame me? No, he said, after a moment. I guess not. He raised his glass. To husbands who are idiots. I clinked my bottle against his glass. I'll drink to that. My name's Damon, by the way. Charlotte. Well, Charlotte, the next round is on me. We sat there for hours, talking and drinking. while his friend Cole grew more and more impatient. Finally, Cole came over. "Damon, we have to go. The meeting was an hour ago." Damon looked at his watch as if seeing it for the first time. "Shit, you're right." He turned to me. "Can you get home all right? Do you need a ride?" "I'm fine," I said, feeling the warm buzz of the alcohol. "You go. Don't be late for your boss." He smiled at that. "Right, my boss." He pulled out his phone. "Give me your number. I'll call you sometime, when you're not so sad." I gave it to him. He and Cole left, climbing back into the sleek black car. As they drove away, Cole looked at him, shaking his head. "You know, I've been your right-hand man for 5 years. When did I become your boss?" Damon just laughed. "Just for tonight, Cole. Just for tonight. You're acting weird, man. Ever since you met that girl. You actually like her or something." Damon drove in silence for a moment, the city lights flashing across his face. He remembered my eyes, swimming with a sadness so profound it felt like he could drown in it. "I don't know what it is," he said, more to himself than to Cole. I can't get her out of my head." Damon's meeting wasn't at a corporate high-rise. It was in the sprawling, marble-floored lobby of his own secluded mansion, a fortress of glass and steel hidden away in the hills overlooking the city. When he walked in, Ethan, Sarah's brother, my former admirer, was waiting for him, perched nervously on the edge of a leather sofa. Ethan stood up the moment he saw Damon, his posture deferential. "Sir," Damon nodded, sinking into an armchair opposite him. "Report. Everything is proceeding as planned on the waterfront project, sir. All permits are secured." "Good. You've earned your bonus." Damon's voice was clipped. "All business." You see, Damon wasn't just a wealthy businessman. That was the cover. In reality, he was the architect of a vast, sophisticated money-laundering empire that stretched across the continent. His businesses, casinos, real estate ventures, import-export companies, were all just elaborate fronts. And Ethan, my sweet, ordinary Ethan, was one of his most trusted and effective lieutenants, a key player in a world I couldn't even begin to imagine. After their meeting, as Ethan was driving home, he couldn't shake the image of my face from his mind. He pulled up to the small house he shared with his sister, Sarah, and rang the bell. "Ethan, you're home late," she said, opening the door. "Work," he mumbled, walking past her into the kitchen. "Can you make me some ramen? And grab me a beer." As she cooked, he tossed a thick stack of crisp, new $100 bills onto the counter. "Here, go buy yourself something nice." Sarah stared at the cash. "Where did you get all this? You just got promoted, didn't you?" "Something like that." "Are you still in real estate? It doesn't seem possible to make this much money this fast." "Ethan, tell me the truth. Are you dealing drugs?" He scoffed. "Don't be ridiculous." "I'm serious," she insisted, her voice full of worry. "Please, don't get involved in that stuff. It's fast money, but it's a fast death too." "You watch too many movies," he said, waving her off. "Now, are you going to tell me what's on your mind? Or are you just going to burn the noodles?" Sarah sighed, turning back to the stove. "It's Charlotte. She left Julian. She's back at her mom's." Ethan froze, the beer bottle halfway to his lips. What? Julian was having an affair. He chose the other woman, and his monster of a mother kicked Charlotte out. She's going to divorce him. A slow smile spread across Ethan's face. A genuine, unadulterated smile of hope. That's good news," he said, almost to himself. Sarah stared at him. "Good news?" Her life just fell apart. It means I finally have a chance," he said, his eyes bright with a renewed determination. "After all these years, Sarah, You have to help me. You have to help me win her back. A few days later, I was back at work, trying to piece together the semblance of a normal life. Sarah brought me an iced tea during our lunch break. A gift, she announced, setting it on the counter. What's this for? It's from a secret admirer, she said with a theatrical wink. My brother, Ethan, he told me to buy you a drink. Oh, Sarah, that's sweet. But he also wanted me to ask why you haven't responded to his texts. He's been blowing up your phone, apparently. I flushed with guilt. My phone's been in my locker all morning. I haven't even looked at it. Well, look at it now. The poor guy is probably sitting by his phone, waiting. He's a good man, Charlotte. Don't leave him hanging. I knew she was right. I knew Ethan was a good man. I knew he cared for me. I had seen the texts, the missed calls, but I couldn't. The wound from Julian was too fresh, too raw. The thought of letting another man into my life, even someone as kind as Ethan, felt like a betrayal of a pain I hadn't even finished processing. I couldn't give him the answer he wanted, so I gave him no answer at all. Miles away, in his sun-drenched study, Damon was swirling a glass of expensive brandy, gazing out at his collection of prize-winning orchids. His second in command, Cole, walked in. Boss, the numbers for the month are in. He handed Damon a ledger. Both casinos are up. We cleared 100 million. Excellent, Damon murmured, barely glancing at the numbers. And Ethan's division? Close to the same. It's been a good quarter. Cole hesitated. Boss, are you going to be at the event tonight? I've arranged for a special guest, a former Miss Universe contestant. She's very eager to meet you. Fine, Damon said distractedly. Send her over. A few minutes later, Cole escorted a stunningly beautiful woman into the study. She was tall, elegant, and radiated a practiced charm. Boss, this is Isabella. A pleasure to meet you, Mr. Blackwood, she purred, extending a delicate hand. Damon turned from his orchids and looked at her, really looked at her. A polite, appreciative smile touched his lips, and then he turned away, pulled out his phone, and dialed a number from memory. My number. I was cleaning up the store, getting ready to close for the night, when my phone rang. Hello, Charlotte? It's Damon, the driver. A small, involuntary smile touched my lips. Oh, hi. Are you free? Can I take you for that drink I owe you? I was tired, but the thought of going back to my mother's quiet house and thinking about my shattered life was unbearable. Actually, yes. I get off in 15 minutes. Perfect. The cafe near that oyster bar. I'll meet you there. Okay. See you soon. He hung up the phone and turned to Cole, a genuine smile now lighting up his face. Cole, my friend, he said, clapping him on the shoulder. Tonight, Isabella is all yours. A gift. From me to you. Cole stared, utterly bewildered. Boss, are you serious? Completely. She's all yours. $300,000 a night model. Don't let it go to waste. But I got her for you. You've been working hard. You deserve a bonus. He gave Cole a playful shove and then hurried out of the room, leaving Cole and a very confused beauty queen standing in his study. Damon stood in front of his walk-in closet, a frown on his face. What do I wear? How do you make an impression on a first date? He felt a nervous flutter in his stomach, a feeling so foreign he barely recognized it. Wait, is this a date? Why am I so nervous? He changed his shirt 3 times before finally settling on a simple, dark cashmere sweater and tailored trousers. He ran a hand through his hair, took a deep breath, and drove to meet me. I was just locking up the shop when a car pulled up to the curb. It was Ethan. "Charlotte! Hey!" he called out, a hopeful smile on his face. "Ethan, hi. What are you doing here?" "I came to see you," he said simply. "Let's go get something to eat." "Oh, I can't. I'm not really hungry." "But I am." Sarah popped out from behind him, grinning. "Come on, Charlotte. We're all going. My treat." Before I could protest further, she was pulling me towards Ethan's car. "My car's here. I have to." "Don't worry about your car," Sarah said, practically shoving me into the passenger seat. "Someone will drive it home for you. Just get in." I was trapped. I shot a desperate look at my phone, thinking of Damon waiting for me at the cafe. But Sarah was already chattering away, and Ethan was pulling out into traffic, and the moment was lost. He took us to a restaurant I never would have chosen. One of those places with tiny portions and giant price tags. Sarah, bless her, tried to keep the conversation light, but the tension was thick enough to cut with a steak knife. Halfway through the meal, she clutched her stomach. "Ooh, my stomach," she groaned. "I think that oyster I had for lunch is staging a protest." "You two stay, finish your wine. My boyfriend is just around the corner. I'll have him pick me up." And with a quick bye, she was gone, leaving me alone with her brother. He cleared his throat and slid a small velvet box across the table. "This is for you." "Ethan, what is this?" "Just open it." Inside, a delicate ring with a sparkling sapphire winked up at me. It was beautiful and terrifying. "I can't accept this. It's not an engagement ring," he said quickly. "It's just a gift, a piece of jewelry. Please, just try it on." Before I could refuse, he took the ring and slid it onto my finger. It fit perfectly. He took my hand then, his thumb gently stroking my knuckles. He leaned in, his eyes full of a deep, painful longing. "Charlotte, Just then, my phone buzzed on the table, a loud, insistent interruption. We both jumped. It was Damon. "Hello?" I answered, my voice breathless. "Are you lost in a traffic jam? Or did you stand me up?" His voice was light, teasing, but I could hear an undercurrent of disappointment. My heart sank. I had completely forgotten. "Oh my God, I am so sorry. I'm still at the restaurant. If you don't get here soon, I'm going to eat all the sunflower seeds in this entire cafe. Seriously, they'll have to ban me for life. I'm on my way, I promise. Don't move." I jumped to my feet. "Ethan, I am so sorry. I have to go. It's an emergency." "Wait, where are you going?" "I'll drive you." "No, it's okay. It's just around the corner," I blurted out, already halfway to the door. I ran out of the restaurant and down the street, my heart pounding with a mixture of guilt and a strange, unfamiliar excitement. Ethan watched me go, a slow smile spreading across his face. He looked down at the empty chair, then at his own hand. She was gone, but she was wearing his ring. For now, that was enough. I burst into the cafe, breathless and flustered. Damon was sitting at a corner table, a small mountain of sunflower seed shells in the ashtray in front of him. "I am so sorry," I panted. Collapsing into the chair opposite him, I completely lost track of time. "Did you run a marathon to get here?" he asked, an amused glint in his eyes. "Pretty much. I feel terrible." "Don't. Waiting a little longer just makes it better when you finally show up." He leaned back, his gaze thoughtful. "So, are you going to tell me what had you so preoccupied?" As we talked, I found myself relaxing in a way I hadn't in years. He was easy to talk to, a calm, steady presence that seemed to absorb my anxiety. After a while, He stood up and came around behind my chair. "Close your eyes," he said. I felt the cool touch of metal against my skin as he fastened a necklace around my neck. I opened my eyes and looked down. A simple, elegant silver chain with a single, perfect pearl. What is this?" I stammered, touching the pearl. "I can't take this." He sat back down, a sheepish look on his face. "I bought it for my mother, but she said it was too youthful for her. So it was either give it to you or throw it away. Seemed like a waste." I looked at him, a skeptical smile on my face. "You bought this for your mother? Okay, you caught me," he admitted with a grin. "I bought it for you. Just accept it, will you? It looks good on you." "I don't know. I don't usually accept gifts from men." My hand instinctively went to the ring Ethan had given me. Damon's eyes followed my movement. His smile faded. "New ring? Oh, this? A friend gave it to me. A male friend? Or a female friend? Does it matter?" I asked, feeling defensive. "Just curious," he said, his voice suddenly cool. He stared at the ring on my finger for a long, uncomfortable moment. I tucked my hand into my lap, feeling a strange need to hide it. That night, when Damon got home, he couldn't shake the image of the ring from his mind. A friend gave it to her? Who is he? The unfamiliar sting of jealousy caught him by surprise. Cole and Ethan arrived a few minutes later for a late-night strategy session. Damon was pacing his study, a thunderous look on his face. "Boss? Something wrong?" Cole asked cautiously. "Who the hell is he?" Damon muttered, more to himself than to them. "Who's the bastard who gave her the ring?" Cole and Ethan exchanged a confused look. "Ring? What ring, boss? If I ever find the son of a bitch who's trying to move in on my territory," Damon growled, "I'll kill him." Ethan and Cole froze, their eyes wide with a shared, unspoken terror. They backed slowly out of the room. "Dude," Cole whispered once they were in the hall, "who do you think was stupid enough to piss off the boss like that?" Ethan, his face pale and beaded with sweat, just shook his head. "I have no idea, but I don't want to be anywhere near here when he finds him." The next morning, I arrived at work to find chaos. Lining the sidewalk in front of our little cosmetics boutique were 20 men. All of them were built like refrigerators, dressed in identical black suits and sunglasses, standing at perfect, intimidating attention. Sarah grabbed my arm, her face white. "What is going on? Is the landlord being shaken down by the mob?" Our manager, a tiny woman named Maria, was just as baffled. She cautiously approached one of the men. "Excuse me, can I help you?" The man looked down at her, his face impassive. "We're not here for you, ma'am." "Then why are you standing in front of my store? You're scaring away my customers." "We are here on the orders of our employer, to protect our boss." "Protect your boss?" Maria laughed nervously. "This is a makeup store. The only boss here is me, and I don't need protecting." The man simply pointed a thick finger towards the inside of the store. "Our boss's name is Charlotte Croft. She's in there." Maria's jaw dropped. She scurried back inside. "Charlotte, are you the boss of a crime syndicate?" "What? No, of course not." "Well, they seem to think you are. Go talk to them." Trembling, I walked to the door and addressed the human wall of muscle. "Excuse me? Hi." In perfect, terrifying unison, they all bowed their heads slightly. "Good morning, ma'am." The synchronized greeting nearly made me jump out of my skin. Why? Why are you calling me that? And why are you here?" "We are here to ensure your safety, ma'am," the leader said. "On the orders of Mr. Blackwood, we have secured the perimeter. You may proceed with your work without concern." "Mr. Blackwood? You mean Damon?" "But this is a mistake. I'm not your boss. I'm just a sales clerk." "There is no mistake, ma'am," he said, holding up a photo on his phone. It was a picture of me, Charlotte Croft, phone number. He rattled off my number perfectly. "Our orders are clear." I retreated back into the empty store, my mind reeling. No one dared to come in. Of course they didn't. It looked like a scene from a gangster movie. Finally, unable to take it anymore, I stormed back outside and called Damon. "Damon, what is this?" I hissed into the phone. "There are a bunch of guys in black suits outside my job, and they're calling me their boss." He just laughed. "Good morning to you too, sunshine." "Are they behaving themselves? They're scaring away all our customers. You have to call them off." "Relax, sweetheart," he said, his voice infuriatingly calm. "Tell your manager to add up the value of every single item in that store. I'll buy it all. Consider it my way of making up for the inconvenience." "Are you insane? That's thousands of dollars of high-end cosmetics. And why are they calling me their boss?" "Because I told them you're my girlfriend, and their job is to protect you." "I am not your girlfriend," I shrieked. "We've been on one date. Just play along, Charlotte. Give me a little face. Don't make me look bad in front of my men." "I don't care about your men or your face. This is insane. Tell them to leave." "Tell you what," he said, a challenge in his voice. "You're so sure I'm bluffing? You calculate the total. I'll be there in an hour to settle the bill. Let's see who's bluffing then." And he hung up. Furious, I marched back inside. "Maria, Sarah, start counting. We're selling out the entire store." An hour later, as we were finishing the tally, a number so large it made me dizzy, Damon strolled in, looking impossibly handsome and completely unbothered, flanked by two more of his suited giants. He was no longer the kind, gentle driver I'd had a drink with. This was someone else entirely. This was Mr. Blackwood. "So," he said with a lazy smile, "what's the damage?" I looked down at the calculator, took a deep breath, and multiplied the final number by 5. $5 million, I said, my voice shaking slightly. My manager and Sarah both gasped. The real total was closer to 1. Damon didn't even blink. He just chuckled. "Is that all? I was expecting something closer to 10. He snapped his fingers. One of his men stepped forward and placed a heavy, silver briefcase on the counter. He opened it. It was full of money. Stacks and stacks of pristine $100 bills. "There's 10 million in there," he said casually. "Count it if you want." I stared at the money, my mouth dry, my hands shaking. I had never seen so much cash in my life. It didn't look real. He leaned in close, his voice a low whisper in my ear. "If you agree to be my girlfriend, for real this time, you'll never have to worry about money again for the rest of your life." I looked from the briefcase full of cash to his dark, intense eyes. He wasn't asking, he was claiming. "I'm not for sale," I whispered back, my voice trembling. "I know," he said, his eyes softening for a fraction of a second. "That's why I'm willing to pay so much." The deal was done. My manager, Maria, her hands trembling, counted out the $1 million for the inventory and tried to hand the remaining $9 million back to Damon. He waved it away. "Keep it. A bonus. For the inconvenience." Maria looked like she was going to faint. Damon's men efficiently packed every last bottle of perfume, every tube of lipstick, every jar of cream into large boxes and loaded them into a waiting van. The store was empty. My job was gone, and I was standing in the middle of it all, feeling like I'd just been bought and sold. He walked me to my car. "So," he said, leaning against the door, "what do I have to do to get you to say yes?" I finally found my voice, a spark of anger cutting through the shock. "I told you, I'm not for sale, and I will never, ever trust a man again. You're all the same. We're not all the same, he said softly. Give me a chance to prove it. No, I'm not interested in being another one of your acquisitions. He just smiled, a slow, confident smile that infuriated me. You say that now. But I'm a very patient man, Charlotte. I'll get what I want, eventually. He pushed himself off the car and walked away, leaving me standing there, shaking with a confusing mix of rage and a terrifying, undeniable thrill. That evening, I was at home, trying to explain to my bewildered mother how I had come home in the middle of the day with a severance check larger than our mortgage. I was rocking Maya, trying to get her to sleep. Mama, she said, her little voice clear as a bell. Sing. The simple request, a word she had never said before, filled my heart with a joy so fierce it almost hurt. Yes, baby, I whispered, tears springing to my eyes. Mama will sing. My life was a chaotic, terrifying mess, but in that small, perfect moment, none of it mattered. My daughter was talking, she was healing, and maybe, just maybe, I could too. As I was singing her to sleep, the doorbell rang. It was Julian. He looked diminished. His expensive suit was rumpled, his face was tired, and the arrogant confidence he used to wear like a second skin was gone. What do you want? I asked, blocking the doorway. I came to see my daughter. So now you remember you have a daughter, after weeks of silence. Go home, Julian. Go back to your new life. Charlotte, please, he said, his voice laced with a desperation I'd never heard before. Let me just see her. He tried to push past me. No, I said, standing my ground. I won't let you upset her. Go away. He was my husband. He was her father. But in that moment, all I saw was a stranger trying to break into the fragile sanctuary I was trying to build for my child. He grabbed my arm, his grip surprisingly strong. She is my daughter. I have a right to see her. And then, as if summoned by the conflict, they appeared. A black car glided silently to the curb, and two of Damon's men stepped out. They didn't say a word. They just stood there, watching. Their presence was more menacing than any threat. Julian froze, his eyes widening in confusion and fear. Who are they? A smirk touched my lips. They're my bodyguards. And if you don't take your hand off me right now, they're going to introduce you to a world of pain. He laughed, a short, incredulous bark. You have bodyguards? Don't be ridiculous. A broke, single mother like you? You don't believe me? I challenged, raising an eyebrow. Fine. You'll regret it. I looked over Julian's shoulder at the two men. He's trespassing, I said, my voice cold and clear. And he's trying to kidnap my child. Remove him. It happened in an instant. The men moved with a fluid, brutal efficiency. They seized Julian, broke his grip on my arm, and slammed him against the side of his own Mercedes. One of them gently took a crying Maya from my arms and handed her to me, while the other held a struggling Julian in an unbreakable grip. This is insane, Julian sputtered, his face pressed against the car's window. Who are you people? The back door of the black car opened, and Damon stepped out. He looked like a king surveying his domain. They're my people, he said, his voice dangerously quiet. And she is my girlfriend. Is there a problem? Julian stared at him, his mouth agape. He recognized Damon instantly. Everyone in the city, with any ambition or connection to power, knew who Damon Blackwood was. The man was a legend, a phantom who controlled vast swaths of the city's wealth from the shadows. To cross him was professional, and often literal. Suicide. Mr. Blackwood, Julian stammered. I didn't know. Now you do, Damon said, walking over to me and placing a protective arm around my shoulders. "Are you and the little one okay?" "We're fine," I whispered, leaning into his solid presence. "Thank you." Julian, defeated and terrified, didn't say another word. He just scrambled into his car and sped away. Damon turned to me, his dark eyes searching my face. "He's your ex, isn't he? The one who hurt you?" I nodded, unable to speak. "He won't bother you again," Damon promised. "I'll make sure of it." He looked from my face to my mother's small, neat house. "You invite me in for a glass of water? After that rescue, I think I've earned it." I hesitated, then nodded. "Okay, but just for a minute." Inside, the house felt small and cluttered with him in it. He exuded an aura of power that seemed to suck all the air out of the room. My mom had gone to the store, and Maya was playing in her room. We were alone. He sat on the sofa, too close, and took my hand. "I meant what I said, Charlotte. I want you." He leaned in, his gaze intense. "I think I've wanted you since the first moment I saw you crying on that street corner. I can't explain it, but when I'm near you, I lose control." He leaned closer, his lips just inches from mine. "I want to kiss you, Charlotte." My heart was hammering against my ribs. I should have pulled away. I should have told him to leave. But I was so tired of being strong, so tired of fighting. And in his eyes, I saw a raw, possessive desire that was both terrifying and intoxicating. I pushed him away, my hand connecting with his cheek in a sharp slap. "Get away from me," I breathed, my voice shaky. "You're crazy." He didn't flinch. He just smiled, a slow, predatory smile. He grabbed me then, pulling me against him, his mouth crashing down on mine. It wasn't a gentle kiss. It was hard, demanding, a kiss that tasted of power and whiskey, and a deep, consuming hunger. I struggled for a moment, my hands pushing against his chest, but he was too strong. And then, something inside me, something broken and lonely and starved for affection, just gave way. I stopped fighting, and I kissed him back. Just as the kiss deepened, a car pulled up outside. It was Ethan. He'd seen Damon's men posted at the end of the street, and his heart had seized with a nameless dread. He ran to the door, calling my name. "Charlotte, are you in there? Are you okay?" Hearing his voice was like being doused with a bucket of ice water. I tore myself away from Damon, my face flushed with shame. "Ethan, I'm in here." Ethan burst through the door and stopped dead, his eyes locking on Damon. The tension in the room crackled. "Sir?" Ethan's voice was a choked whisper. He looked from his boss, the most powerful man he knew, to me, the woman he loved, a look of horrified understanding dawning on his face. Damon released me and stood up, his expression unreadable. "Ethan." What a surprise. I ran to Ethan's side, instinctively seeking his protection. "Ethan, help me. He won't leave me alone." Ethan nodded, stepping in front of me to face his boss. "Sir, let's not make this difficult." "So," Damon said, his voice dangerously soft, his eyes narrowed on Ethan. "The girl you told me about, the one you have a history with, it's her?" "Yes, sir," Ethan said, his voice steady despite the fear I could see in his eyes. "Charlotte has been through enough. I'm asking you, as a friend, to leave her out of this. She's not a part of our world." "She is now," Damon said flatly, "because I want her. There are thousands of women who would do anything to be with you, sir. Beautiful, uncomplicated women. Charlotte, she's a single mother. She's fragile. I'm not asking for your opinion, Ethan. I'm telling you, she's mine." The arrogance of it, the sheer possessiveness, made Ethan's blood run cold. But something stronger than fear was rising in him now. A fierce, protective love. "No," Ethan said, his voice ringing with a newfound authority. She's not yours. She's with me. So I'm telling you, sir, to back off. Damon's face darkened with a rage so potent it felt like a physical force in the room. He picked up a glass from the coffee table and hurled it against the wall, where it shattered into 1,000 tiny pieces. She is mine, he roared, and no one, especially not one of my own men, takes what is mine. The two men stood facing each other, a king and his rebellious knight, ready to go to war over a broken queen. I scooped Maya into my arms, my heart pounding. Both of you, get out, I said, my voice shaking. Get out of my house. Now. Damon looked at me, a flicker of something unreadable in his eyes. I want to be a father to your daughter, Charlotte. Not to be outdone, Ethan immediately added. I will be a father to her, Charlotte. I'll take care of you both. I let out a sound that was half laugh, half sob. My daughter has a father. His name is Julian, and he's a selfish bastard. I don't need a replacement. Now both of you, leave. Just then, my mother walked in, her arms full of groceries. She stopped in her tracks, her eyes wide as she took in the scene, the shattered glass, the two powerful, glaring men, and me, standing in the middle of it all, looking like I was about to break. This was my life now, a battlefield, and I was the prize. My mother, bless her pragmatic heart, sized up the situation in seconds. She'd always adored Ethan. He was the safe choice, the boy next door, the one she'd secretly hoped I'd end up with all along. Damon, with his expensive suit and aura of cold danger, was a terrifying unknown. She put down her grocery bags and walked straight to Ethan, a warm smile on her face. Ethan, honey, it's so good to see you. Are you staying for dinner? Then she looked at Damon, her expression turning cool and dismissive. And you are? I'm Damon Blackwood, he said, his voice smooth as silk. Charlotte's boyfriend. My mother let out a disbelieving laugh. Boyfriend? Don't be ridiculous. My Charlotte has been in love with Ethan since they were in high school. He's the only one for her. She patted Ethan's arm affectionately. He's practically my son-in-law already. Ethan shot a triumphant, smug look at Damon. Checkmate, boss. Damon's jaw tightened. He looked at me, a silent plea in his eyes for me to refute this, to say something, anything. But I was so tired, so emotionally drained, I just turned away, offering him nothing. The rejection, both from me and my mother, was a blow to his pride he couldn't stomach. With a final, icy glare at Ethan, he spun on his heel and strode out of the house. His army of guards melted away into the evening shadows behind him. The moment he was gone, the atmosphere in the house lifted. Ethan was all smiles, helping my mother unpack the groceries, charming her with stories, effortlessly sliding into the role of the perfect future son-in-law. But I knew this wasn't over. A man like Damon Blackwood didn't just walk away. Back at his mansion, Damon poured himself a large glass of whiskey and drank it in one go. The rage was a bitter fire in his gut. Cole found him staring into the empty glass, his knuckles white. Boss, what happened? Ethan, Damon growled. The little traitor. He stabbed me in the back. Ethan? No, it can't be. He's been loyal for years. He wants the girl. He stood in my house and claimed her, right to my face. Cole's face went pale. So, what are we going to do? Do you want me to take care of him? Damon was silent for a long time, the muscles in his jaw working. The code of his world was simple. Betrayal was answered with death. But then he thought of my face. He pictured the grief he would cause me if Ethan, my childhood friend, suddenly disappeared. And for the first time in his life, Damon hesitated. For the first time, the consequences felt personal. No, he said finally, his voice heavy with a feeling he didn't recognize as regret. Don't touch him. Just take back everything we gave him. The position, the money, the car. Strip him clean. I don't want him dead. Because if he dies, she'll be sad. And I don't want to see her sad. He looked up at Cole, his eyes haunted. Is this what it feels like? To care about someone? Cole, who had seen his boss order executions without blinking an eye, could only stare. Boss, you've really fallen for her, haven't you? Damon let out a long, weary sigh. This is the first and last time I will ever show mercy, Cole. Let's just end this. I won't see her again. Ethan was leaving my mother's house, feeling like he'd won the world, when Cole and a half dozen of Damon's men cornered him at his car. Ethan's blood ran cold. He thought this was the end. He literally fell to his knees in the street, grabbing Cole's legs. Cole, please, don't kill me. I'll do anything. Cole looked down at him with a mixture of pity and disgust. Get up, you idiot. The boss is letting you live. Ethan scrambled to his feet, dizzy with relief. He's letting me live? Why? Because of her, Cole said, shaking his head in disbelief. He's afraid if you die, she'll be upset. He's actually sparing you, you lucky son of a bitch. Cole leaned in, his voice a low warning. But don't think this is over. He gave you a pass this time because he cares about her. You know the rules. You know what happens to traitors. You just got the one and only free pass you will ever get in this life. Don't waste it. He walked away, leaving Ethan standing alone in the street, stripped of his power and wealth, but clinging to the one thing that mattered more, a chance with me. Weeks turned into a month. Damon kept his word. He didn't call, he didn't appear. It was as if he had been a phantom, a strange, intense dream that had swept through my life and then vanished. Ethan, on the other hand, was a constant, gentle presence. He had lost his high-paying job, he said, due to a corporate restructuring, and was now trying to start his own small business. He was at the house constantly, fixing things for my mom, playing with Maya, slowly, patiently trying to wear down my defenses. I knew he was a good man. I knew he would be a wonderful father to Maya, but my heart remained a locked room. I just couldn't let him in. Across town, in the sterile, oversized mansion Julian had bought with her father's money, a heavily pregnant Chloe was pacing the floor, her face a mask of fury. It was after midnight. Julian still wasn't home. She called his phone. "Where the hell are you?" she shrieked the moment he answered. "It's midnight. I'm about to give birth, and you're out screwing around." "I'm just having a beer with some colleagues," he slurred, the sound of loud music and female laughter in the background. "Go to sleep. I'll be home later." He hung up. He wasn't with colleagues. He was at the apartment of a young, pretty nurse from the hospital, who was currently straddling him on her sofa. When Julian finally stumbled home in the early hours of the morning, Chloe was waiting for him, a storm of hormonal rage. She hurled a crystal glass at his head, which he barely managed to dodge. "You bastard. You were with her, weren't you? You were with your ex-wife." "What? No. I told you. I was with friends from work." "Liar. You're still obsessed with her. You can't stand that she's moved on. So you go crawling back to her pathetic little house, begging her to take you back." The accusation, so far from the truth of his own tawdry betrayal, was ludicrous. But in Chloe's paranoid, pregnant mind, I was the only threat she could imagine. Julian, seeing his comfortable life about to implode, switched tactics. He rushed to her, wrapping her in his arms, his face a mask of practiced sincerity. "Baby, no. I swear to you, I haven't seen Charlotte. I would never. You're the only one I want. It's always been you." He kissed her, and as he did, his face, hidden from her view, twisted into a smirk of cold calculation. He had her. He could always handle her. But Chloe wasn't entirely fooled. The next day, stewing in her anger and suspicion, she made a call, and she hired a team of private investigators to follow my every move. She was convinced I was trying to steal her man, and she was determined to destroy me before I could. I was oblivious to the storm brewing. I was just trying to get to work. I had just stepped out of my car in the store's parking lot when they descended on me. 4 women, their faces hard and angry, came out of nowhere. They grabbed my hair, pulling me to the ground. "Husband stealer," one of them screamed, kicking me in the ribs. "You think you can just wreck a family and get away with it?" I was stunned, terrified, completely overwhelmed. I tried to scramble away, but they were on me, punching and kicking, their voices a vicious chorus of insults. I managed to break free and ran blindly into the street, their hateful shouts echoing behind me. I ran, not looking where I was going, my mind consumed with pure panic. I ran straight into the path of an oncoming car. The car, a familiar black sedan, screeched to a halt, the tires smoking, just inches from my body. I froze, my eyes squeezed shut, bracing for an impact that never came. The driver's side door flew open. It was Damon. His face was a mask of cold, controlled fury. "Get in the car, Charlotte. Now." I didn't hesitate. I scrambled into the passenger seat, shaking uncontrollably, as he peeled away from the curb, leaving my attackers standing in the street, their mouths agape. "Who were they?" he asked, his voice dangerously low, his eyes fixed on the road ahead. "I don't know," I sobbed. They attacked me. They said I was a husband stealer." His hands tightened on the steering wheel until his knuckles were white. "Julian's new girlfriend." I don't know, maybe. I don't understand why anyone would do this." He turned to look at me then, his eyes burning with an intensity that took my breath away. "Forget about work today. You're coming with me." "Where are we going?" "You're going to spend the day with me, and I'm going to make you forget that any of this ever happened." The thought of going back to work, of facing the questions and the pity, was unbearable. The thought of going home to my mother's quiet, sad house was even worse. "Okay," I whispered, a reckless decision born of desperation. "Okay." And then a bolder, crazier thought took hold. I was tired of being a victim. I was tired of being poor and powerless. I needed to take control. "But it's going to cost you," I said, my voice stronger now. He glanced at me, a flicker of surprise in his eyes. "Cost me what?" $1 million. He stared at me, his expression unreadable. "I'm serious," I said, my heart pounding. "I want to open my own salon. I want to be my own boss. I never want to be dependent on anyone, ever again." "You have more money than you know what to do with. To you, $1 million is nothing. To me, it's a new life. So, that's my price. One day, one perfect day with you, for $1 million. He was silent for a long, tense moment. I could see the disappointment in his eyes, the flicker of hurt that I would reduce whatever was between us to a transaction. But then, a slow, dangerous smile spread across his face. He reached over and tucked a stray piece of hair behind my ear, his fingers warm against my skin. "All right, Charlotte," he said, his voice a low purr. "You've got a deal. One day. Starting now." He took me to a private suite at the city's most exclusive bank. He didn't fill out a withdrawal slip. He just nodded to the bank manager, who personally escorted us into the vault. Damon opened a safe deposit box the size of a small refrigerator and began stacking bricks of cash into a leather duffel bag. I prefer to be paid in cash, I'd told him. A feeble attempt to assert some control. Up front, he didn't even blink. As you wish. He zipped the bag and handed it to me. It was heavier than I'd expected, the physical weight of my freedom. Are you happy now? He asked, his voice devoid of emotion. You have your money. You can start your new life. Yes, I said, clutching the bag to my chest. This is what I wanted. Good, he said, his eyes cold. Then from 8 a.m., today until 8 a.m., tomorrow, you're mine. No objections, no refusals. You do what I say, go where I go. That's the deal. The reality of what I had just agreed to hit me like a physical blow. I had sold a piece of myself, but as I looked at the bag in my hands, I pushed the feeling down. This wasn't a surrender. It was an investment. The day was a blur of unimaginable luxury. We had lunch at a Michelin-starred restaurant where the chef came out to personally greet Damon. We went shopping, not in stores, but in private designer showrooms where champagne was served while assistants brought out racks of clothes just for me. He bought me dresses that cost more than my car, shoes I was afraid to walk in, a handbag that came with its own certificate of authenticity. I felt like an actress playing a role, draped in borrowed glamour. He was a perfect gentleman, attentive, charming, but there was a distance in his eyes, a cool reserve that hadn't been there before. The transaction had changed things. As the sun began to set, I felt a wave of homesickness. Can we just walk for a bit? I asked. And maybe get some street food? I'm tired of all this fancy stuff. A genuine smile touched his lips for the first time all day. I know just the place. We walked through the bustling night market, the smells of grilled meat and spices filling the air. For the first time, it felt real. He bought us skewers of chicken and cheap, sweet iced tea. As we walked, his hand found mine, his fingers lacing through mine. It didn't feel like part of the deal. It felt natural. Are you having a good time? He asked, his voice softer now. Yes, I admitted, surprised to find it was the truth. I am. Do you like me, Charlotte? Even a little? I don't know what to think about you, Damon, I said honestly. 1 minute you're this kind stranger. The next you're a mob boss buying my life. I'm whatever you need me to be, he said, his gaze intense. Just give me a chance to show you. That night, at his mansion, the reality of the bargain came due. I was in the guest bathroom, a cavern of marble and gold. When he walked in, he was wearing nothing but a towel slung low on his hips. My breath caught in my throat. It's a big shower, he said, his voice a low rumble. Room for two. This was it. The final payment. I had known it was coming, but my body still tensed, a knot of fear and anticipation tightening in my stomach. He came to me, his hands gently cupping my face. He didn't kiss me. He just looked at me, his dark eyes searching mine. You don't have to do this, Charlotte, he whispered, his voice rough with an emotion I couldn't name. The deal is done. The money is yours. If you want to leave, you can leave. I looked into his eyes, and for the first time, I didn't see the powerful crime lord or the wealthy businessman. I saw a man, lonely and vulnerable, who wanted something more than just a body for the night. He wanted me. And in that moment, something shifted. This was no longer a transaction. It was a choice. My choice. I don't want to leave, I whispered. The night was a revelation. He was a passionate, attentive lover. His every touch, every kiss, seeming to worship the body I had always felt was flawed. He made me feel beautiful, desired, whole. For one night, I wasn't a failed wife or a struggling single mother. I was just a woman, alive and wanted. I woke late the next morning, the sun streaming through the floor-to-ceiling windows. I was alone in the massive bed. For a panicked moment, I thought he was gone, that the dream was over. Then I heard the shower running. I sat up, the silk sheets pooling around my waist. The clock on the bedside table read 10:47 a.m. Oh my God, it's over. The 24 hours are up. I scrambled out of bed, a sudden, sharp pain making me wince. My body ached in places I didn't know could ache. I hurried into the bathroom just as he was stepping out of the shower, a towel around his waist. "Good morning," he said, his smile warm and genuine. "It's almost noon," I said, my voice tight. "I have to go. Our contract is over." "Stay," he said, pulling me into his arms. "Have breakfast with me." "I can't. The deal is done." I pulled away and stepped into the shower, turning the water on as hot as I could stand it. When I came out, dressed in the clothes from the day before, he was waiting for me, looking disappointed. "So that's it?" he asked. "You're just going to walk away?" "That was the agreement," I said, not meeting his eyes. No strings. He drove me home in a tense, heavy silence. At my mother's doorstep, I handed him the necklace he had given me. "I can't keep this, Charlotte." "Thank you for the money," I said, my voice formal. "You've changed my life. But this is over." I turned and walked inside without looking back, leaving him standing on the sidewalk. I went straight to my room, locked the door, and sank onto my bed, the $1,000,000 duffel bag a heavy, accusing weight at my feet. I had what I wanted, so why did I feel like I had just lost everything? That night, Damon lay in his massive bed, the scent of my perfume still lingering on his pillows. He picked up his phone to call me, then stopped. He remembered my words. "This is over." With a frustrated sigh, he tossed the phone aside. For the first time in his life, Damon Blackwood, the man who took whatever he wanted, had been dismissed. And the strange thing was, it didn't make him angry. It just made him want me more. I threw myself into my new project. I leased a small, charming space on a busy street and began transforming it into the salon I had always dreamed of. It was my salvation, a way to pour my energy and my newfound capital into something real, something that was mine. I was so consumed with contractors and permits and inventory that I almost managed to forget the man who had made it all possible. One afternoon, as I was sweeping up drywall dust, Ethan walked in. "Wow," he said, looking around. "You did all this yourself?" "Mostly," I said, leaning on my broom. Where did you get the money for this, Charlotte?" he asked, a hint of suspicion in his voice. "The last time we talked, you were broke." "I came into some money," I said vaguely. He took my hands, his expression earnest and concerned. "Charlotte, I've lost everything. My job, my savings. It's all gone. All I have left is you. Please, just tell me you'll think about a future with me. That's all I need." "Ethan, I told you." I know, he interrupted. "You see me as a brother, but I don't see you as a sister. I love you, Charlotte. I've always loved you. Is it because of him? Because of Damon?" I pulled my hands away. "My feelings have nothing to do with him, or you. They're about me. And right now, I can't. I just can't." His face fell. "I see. I lost everything for you, and it was all for nothing." He turned and walked out, leaving me with the bitter weight of his sacrifice. I was still standing there, lost in thought, when a shadow fell over the doorway. It was Damon. My heart leaped into my throat. "What are you doing here?" "Nice place," he said, strolling in as if he owned it. "Looks like you could use a good window washer, though." He flashed the charming, infuriating smile that had turned my world upside down. "So, when's the grand opening?" I want to be your first customer. This is a salon for women, I said, trying to sound firm. So, men have hair too, and I'm told I have excellent hair. He leaned against the counter, his presence filling the small space. Come on, Charlotte. Don't I at least get a free haircut for my $1 million investment? I couldn't help it. I laughed. A real, genuine laugh. Fine. You can be my first customer, but I'm charging you double. That's my girl, he said, his eyes sparkling, always negotiating. He was back, and despite everything I had told myself, despite the deal and the danger and the sheer insanity of it all, a traitorous part of me was deliriously, terrifyingly happy to see him. He became a fixture. Every day, like clockwork, Damon would appear at the salon, demanding a shampoo or a scalp massage, charming my few employees and unsettling my customers with his quiet, intense presence. He was relentless, wearing down my resistance with a steady campaign of charm, wit, and ridiculously expensive takeout lunches. Don't you have a criminal empire to run? I asked one afternoon, massaging shampoo into his thick, dark hair. It runs itself, he murmured, his eyes closed in contentment. Besides, this is more important. Harassing me is more important than international money laundering. He opened one eye, a mischievous glint in it. Being with you is more important than anything. I found myself smiling, a slow, unwilling surrender. It was happening. Despite my better judgment, despite the wall I had built around my heart, I was falling for him. Meanwhile, Julian's life was unraveling. Chloe had given birth to a healthy baby boy, but motherhood had only amplified her insecurity and paranoia. Without the structure and power of his position at the hospital, which he'd lost after Chloe's father discovered his continued infidelity, Julian was adrift. He spent his days at his mother's house, sleeping until noon, a ghost in his own former life. Eleanor, deprived of her son's prestigious income and her daughter-in-law's wealth, was forced to live a more modest life, and she was miserable. You can't just lie around all day, she nagged him one morning. The bills are piling up. Your son needs things. You have to go and apologize to Chloe. Get your golden goose back. She won't take me back, Mom, Julian mumbled from the sofa. It's over. Then you have to get a job. Do something. We're going to lose this house. The constant hectoring, combined with 2 days of nothing but instant noodles, finally broke him. He put on his best remaining suit and drove to the opulent mansion. Chloe now shared with their son and a team of nannies. A maid let him in. He heard the sound of a baby crying and followed it to the nursery. Chloe was there, rocking the infant, her face tired and strained. Our son, he said, his voice thick with a sudden, genuine emotion. Chloe looked up, her eyes hard as stone. Get out, Chloe, please. Just let me hold him. Get out, she repeated, turning her back to him. You lost the right to be his father the day you chose a cheap nurse over your family. I'm sorry, he pleaded, his voice cracking. I was a fool. I'll do anything. Please, just give me another chance. She finally turned to face him, a cruel smirk on her lips. It's too late, Julian. While you were out sleeping your way through the hospital staff, I found someone better, someone who knows how to treat a woman. So, get out, and don't come back. The next time you see me or my son will be in court. Defeated, he stumbled out of the house. He went home to his mother, a broken man. She threw me out, he told Eleanor, slumping onto the sofa. She said she's found someone else. I'll never get to see my son. Eleanor wrung her hands, her mind racing. The life of ease and prestige was gone. The wealthy daughter-in-law was gone. They had nothing. And then, a desperate, greedy thought took hold. That other one, she said, her voice a low whisper. Charlotte, I heard she opened her own business, a fancy salon. People say she's doing very well. They say she's rich now. So? Julian mumbled, his face buried in a cushion. So, you go to her, you apologize. She was always a soft touch. Maybe she'll take you back. The thought of it, the sheer humiliation, made Julian's stomach turn. But then he thought of the bills, of the empty refrigerator, of the life he had lost. I can't, he said. After everything we did to her, she'll never forgive us. You have to try, Eleanor insisted. What other choice do we have? The next day, Eleanor showed up at my salon. She hovered outside the glass door, looking hesitant and out of place. Damon, who was, as usual, occupying a chair in the waiting area, saw her first. Friend of yours? He asked, nodding towards the door. I looked. My heart skipped a beat. My ex-mother-in-law. What does she want? I have no idea. I took a deep breath and went to the door. Eleanor? Can I help you? She wouldn't meet my eyes. Charlotte, I was just in the neighborhood. I heard you open this place. It's nice. Thank you. Is there something you need? I was wondering, she stammered, her voice barely a whisper. If I could borrow some money, just a little. Things have been difficult lately. I stared at her, utterly speechless. The woman who had thrown my belongings in the trash, who had called my daughter defective, who had gloated about her son's wealthy new life, was now standing in my salon, begging me for a handout. The irony was so thick, so bitter, I could taste it. Before I could answer, Damon stood up and walked over, pulling out a thick wad of cash from his pocket. Here, he said, his voice dripping with ice. He handed the money to Eleanor. Take this, and don't ever come near Charlotte again. Eleanor looked from the money to his face, confused. And you are? I'm her fiancé, Damon said smoothly, sliding his arm around my waist. I was too shocked to even react. And after everything you and your pathetic son did to her, you have a lot of nerve showing your face here. Take the money and get lost. If you or anyone from your family bothers her again, you'll have to deal with me. And trust me, he leaned in, his voice a menacing whisper. You don't want that. Eleanor, terrified, snatched the money and practically ran from the salon. She rushed home and burst through the door. Julian, you won't believe it. Charlotte is engaged to a gangster, a rich, terrifying gangster. Julian sat up, his eyes wide. What? Engaged? To who? I don't know his name, but he was there. He drives a fancy car. He has bodyguards. He gave me all this money just to get rid of me. The news hit Julian like a punch to the gut. Charlotte, his Charlotte, the quiet, unassuming woman he had discarded so easily, was now with a powerful, wealthy man. A man who could give her everything he had thrown away. The bitter sting of jealousy, mingled with a dawning, horrified regret, was a taste he had never experienced before. I have to see this for myself, he said, grabbing his car keys. That evening, I was closing up the salon. Damon had stayed to help me clean, and we were laughing. The easy, comfortable laughter of two people who were slowly, tentatively, falling in love. Okay, fiancé, I teased. If you're going to claim that title, you have to at least help me take out the trash. Anything for my future wife, he said, his eyes sparkling as he leaned in to kiss me. And that's when Julian appeared in the doorway. He looked like a ghost from a past life, his face pale and drawn. Charlotte, I pulled away from Damon, my heart pounding. Julian, what are you doing here? I came to talk to you. Damon stepped in front of me, a protective shield. She has nothing to say to you. Leave. This is between me and my wife, Julian said, a flicker of his old arrogance returning. Damon laughed, a cold, humorless sound. She's not your wife anymore. She's with me. Now, get out before I lose my patience. Julian ignored him, his eyes fixed on me. Charlotte, please. I made a mistake. A terrible mistake. I know that now. I still love you. Let's start over. For Maya's sake. The audacity of it, the sheer, shameless hypocrisy, left me breathless. The nerve on you, I stammered, my voice shaking with a rage I hadn't felt in months. You throw me and your daughter away for a richer model, and when that falls apart, you come crawling back here? You think I'm your backup plan? Your safety net? He reached for my hand. It wasn't like that. I was confused. I was under a lot of pressure. Get your hands off her, Damon growled. He grabbed Julian by the collar, lifting him effortlessly off the ground, his face a mask of pure fury. I warned you to stay away from her. Julian choked, his feet dangling in the air, his face turning a blotchy purple. Let me go. Damon, stop, I cried, grabbing his arm. You'll kill him. Good, Damon snarled, his eyes blazing. The world would be a better place. Please, I begged, tears streaming down my face. Don't do this. Not for him. For me. Don't become a monster for me. He looked from Julian's terrified, gasping face to mine. He saw my tears, my fear, and with a deep, shuddering breath, he let go. Julian fell to the floor in a heap, coughing and gasping for air. Damon knelt, grabbing a fistful of Julian's shirt. This is your last warning, he whispered, his voice deadly. If I ever see you near her again, I won't stop. Do you understand? Julian, scrambling backwards on his hands and knees, could only nod, his eyes wide with terror. He scrambled to his feet and ran, disappearing into the night. News of the confrontation spread. Ethan heard about it from Sarah, who had heard it from one of my employees. The story was that I was officially engaged to the infamous Damon Blackwood, and that my ex-husband had tried to win me back and been nearly killed for his trouble. For Ethan, it was the final blow. He had lost everything for me, sacrificed his career and his wealth on the futile hope that I would choose him. And I had chosen his boss, the man who had taken everything from him. The grief and resentment curdled into a dark, obsessive hatred. He went to his closet and pulled out a dusty, black case. Inside, nestled in foam, was a handgun he hadn't touched in years. He sat on his bed, slowly, methodically cleaning the weapon, his mind consumed with a single thought. She chose him. She made me into this. She will pay. He called me. I was busy with a client and didn't answer. The unanswered call was, in his twisted mind, the final rejection, the final proof that I had discarded him as easily as Julian had discarded me. That night, as I was locking up the salon, he was waiting for me in the shadows of the alleyway. Ethan, what are you doing here? We need to talk, he said, his voice flat, emotionless. It's late. I have to get home to Maya. Now, Charlotte, he said, grabbing my arm, his grip like steel. Let go of me. You're hurting me. You're going to marry him, aren't you? He asked, his eyes burning with a strange cold fire. You're going to marry the man who destroyed my life. I love him, Ethan. Love? He spat the word like a poison. You don't love him. You love his money. The same way you loved Julian's. That's not true. I did everything for you. I threw away my future for you. And you chose him. Just then, Damon's car pulled up to the curb. He saw Ethan gripping my arm, saw the desperate, angry look on his face, and was out of the car in a flash. Get your hands off her, Damon roared, shoving Ethan away from me. He landed a clean, hard punch on Ethan's jaw, sending him staggering back. Ethan wiped the blood from his lip, a slow, terrible smile spreading across his face. "You shouldn't have done that," he whispered, and he pulled the gun from his jacket. He didn't point it at Damon. He pointed it at me. "If I can't have you," he said, his voice eerily calm, "no one can." Everything seemed to happen in slow motion. My scream, the terrified shouts of passers-by, the glint of metal under the streetlights. Damon didn't hesitate. He didn't think. He just moved. He threw himself in front of me, shielding my body with his own. Just as the gun fired, the sound was a deafening crack in the night air. Damon grunted, a sharp intake of breath, and then he collapsed at my feet. A dark, wet stain was spreading across the back of his crisp, white shirt. I fell to my knees beside him, the world dissolving into a tunnel of pure, screaming terror. "Damon! Oh my God! Damon! No!" He looked up at me, his face pale, a small pained smile on his lips. "It's okay, Charlotte," he whispered, his eyes fluttering closed. "Don't cry." And then he was still. The world exploded into chaos. People were screaming, running. Sirens wailed in the distance. Ethan stood frozen for a moment, the gun smoking in his hand, his face a mask of horrified disbelief at what he had done. Then, as the first police car rounded the corner, he dropped the weapon and fled into the darkness. I didn't see any of it. My entire universe had shrunk to the space on the cold, cracked pavement where Damon lay bleeding. I cradled his head in my lap, my hands slick with his blood, my own voice a raw, desperate prayer. "Stay with me, Damon. Please, stay with me. Open your eyes. Look at me." Paramedics arrived, pulling me away, their movements urgent and professional. They cut open his shirt, pressed gauze to the wound, shouted medical terms I didn't understand. I watched, numb and helpless, as they loaded him into the ambulance. I rode with him, holding his limp hand, whispering his name over and over again into the echoing chaos of the siren. The hospital was a blur of fluorescent lights and hushed, grim faces. They wheeled him away behind a set of swinging doors and left me alone in a sterile, silent waiting room. The hours that followed were the longest of my life. I paced, I prayed, I replayed the gunshot, the look in his eyes, the weight of his body falling against mine, over and over again. He had saved my life. He had taken a bullet that was meant for me. Finally, a surgeon, his face etched with exhaustion, came out to find me. "The bullet went through his shoulder," he said, his voice gentle. "It missed any major arteries. We've removed it, and he's stable." He was very, very lucky. The relief that washed over me was so total, so overwhelming, that my knees buckled. I nearly collapsed onto the floor. Lucky, he was alive. Ethan didn't get far. Consumed by guilt and terror, he hid for a day before turning himself in. The case was open and shut. Attempted murder, the tragic end to a story of unrequited love and obsession. A month later, Damon was discharged from the hospital. The first thing he did, against all medical advice, was show up at my salon. He had his arm in a sling, and he looked pale, but the infuriating, charming glint was back in his eyes. "So," he said, sinking into his usual chair as if nothing had happened, "is my favorite stylist going to give me a welcome home shampoo? My hair has been through a traumatic experience." Tears filled my eyes. I walked over to him, my heart too full for words, and gently, carefully, wrapped my arms around him. "Don't you ever do that again," I whispered into his chest. "Don't you ever scare me like that again." He held me with his good arm, his hand stroking my hair. "A man's got to protect his girl," he murmured. Besides, he added, his voice lighter, I'm a tough guy. It takes more than one little bullet to keep me down. He pulled back, a mock serious look on his face. Although I have to say, a month without your scalp massages has been hell. Absolute hell. I laughed through my tears. You're an idiot. I'm your idiot, he corrected. So, are you going to marry me or what? I did take a bullet for you. That's got to be worth at least a yes. Yes, I whispered, without a moment's hesitation. Yes, I'll marry you. Our wedding was a small, quiet affair. Just us, my mom, and my sweet Maya, who was now chattering away like a magpie. Her vocabulary had exploded in the months since she'd started talking, as if she was making up for 4 years of lost time. She adored Damon, following him around like a little shadow, calling him Daddy D. He, in turn, doted on her, his tough, guarded exterior melting away whenever she was near. He was a natural father, patient and loving in a way Julian had never been. And Julian, my ex-husband? His story became a cautionary tale whispered in the city's gossip circles. After being rejected by both Chloe and me, he drifted. He found his niche, preying on lonely, wealthy, middle-aged widows. He became a kept man, trading his youth and good looks for a comfortable life, a handsome parasite living off the generosity of others. I sometimes wondered what would happen to him when his looks faded, when he was no longer a desirable commodity. But honestly, I didn't wonder for long. He had made his choices. He was no longer a part of my story. One sunny afternoon, a few months after our wedding, I was in the salon, finishing up my last client. Sarah was there, helping me clean up. So, she said, a playful grin on her face. How's Mr. Blackwood? Still terrorizing the criminal underworld? Mostly, he just terrorizes me into giving him foot rubs. I laughed. He's a big baby. Honestly, I'm so happy for you, Charlotte, she said, her expression turning serious. After everything you went through, you deserve this. You really do. Just then, my phone buzzed. It was a text from an unknown number. My heart gave a little jolt of apprehension, but when I opened it, it wasn't a threat or a ghost from the past. It was a picture. It was from Ethan, sent from a contraband phone inside the prison. The picture was of a small, crude drawing he had made, a little stick figure family, a man, a woman, and a little girl, holding hands under a smiling sun. Beneath it, he had written just 2 words, I'm sorry. I looked at the picture for a long time. The anger I had felt, the terror, the betrayal. It had all faded, leaving only a deep, profound sadness for the good man who had gotten so lost in the dark. I hoped, wherever he was, that he could find his way back to the light. I deleted the message. That evening, I was at home, sitting on the porch of the beautiful house Damon had bought for us, watching him push Maya on the swing set. Her laughter echoed in the warm, twilight air, the sweetest sound in the world. He caught my eye and smiled, a smile so full of love and contentment it made my heart ache. What are you thinking about? He called out. Just everything, I said. All the pain, all the tears, all the betrayals. They hadn't been the end of my story. They had been the prologue. They were the dark, winding roads I had to travel to find my way here, to this moment of perfect, simple peace. The past was a scar, but it was no longer an open wound. The future was unwritten, but for the first time in a very long time, I knew, with every fiber of my being, that it was going to be beautiful. Damon walked over and pulled me into his arms, kissing the top of my head. Happy? He whispered. I leaned into him, breathing in the scent of his skin, listening to the sound of our daughter's laughter. More than you'll ever know, I said. I'm finally home.